Well. Greetings, everybody, from the Inworld Review, specially brought to you this week by Disaster Central. Yes. We're on a different grid because OS Grid is down, and our backup on Avacon is, well, something up with it. And so we've arrived here on the OSCC grid, which is for another reason entirely, but trying to modify our kit a little bit, and oopsie daisy. I got new shades and I got a new hat, except it's not new, it's just disaster. Stricken. That's the word. Anyway, we will live with it. I'll trust James not to concentrate too much on my face. I'm sure there's plenty of other goodies playing on the screen for him to look at. Okay, my name is Mal Burns. I'm joined on this program, of course, by my right-hand man, who's on my right-hand side. So you get it? Yeah? Right. James Atlloud. Welcome, James.
Yeah, I think I get it. Right hand? Yeah, sure. That works.
Yeah. That works. He have done sitting poses and not fitting.
Sadly, I am an American. I'm a U.S. citizen, and I'm very sad. But
yeah, it's unbelievable. Actually, we probably best have not. Anyway, yes, I decided that the grey shade of my jacket's pretty grey anyway. But yeah, the grey hat and the grey glasses can be all about grey days or dark days.
That's interesting because to me, your glasses and hat are red. Is that true
my goodness,
for you, Tosha? I see red. What about you, Tosha?
Yes. That's why I said he's in competition with my hair.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh God!
Red and glasses red, but they're red.
Well, basically, it was a quick edit before we went live, and it's completely messed up. I would actually have to go to another grid and recover my proper hat and glasses. But anyway, I'm also sporting a new jacket. You wouldn't know it, but we've got the open sim hippo on the front, and on the rear, where it normally says MBTV, I've got the OSCC logo on the back of my jacket.
Sure enough, look at that.
So this is version 3, courtesy of those member who does all. I just sent her a copy of the jacket again and say, right, new version, please. So this is basically Tosha and I are going to be doing a panel, along with James is going to be joining us at the OSCC in about 4 weeks' time. And we'll be just talking about the hypergrid and HIE and various things. So I thought, well,
can one of you guys send me a link to the YouTube? I don't find the YouTube channel.
I can do that, Tosha.
I'm really somewhat blind today.
Remember to turn the volume down before you get there, or we'll get echo all over. There we are. Right, and talking of which, of course, I'll get back to my other machine. I'm just going to say hi, everybody. So any of you in chat, if you're there listening, you can actually say hello to me, so I'll know you are actually there. I think I'm going to be featuring a region called Friends of the World a bit later, and I think the guys behind that are planning to be in the studio watching. I think one of them friended me earlier today anyway, so who knows? Maybe here now or a bit later or whatever. Right, okay. So I'm Mal Burns, James Atlloud. I've given you the right-hand girl. No, sorry, the left-hand girl. my co-host, wonderful Tosha Ryran. Welcome, Tosha.
Welcome, Mel. I can talk today, but due to the technical problems, I cannot move my face. I see. So you have to live with it as it is.
I only actually got my looks working by teleporting to the main stage here, where I actually already have permissions. And when I teleported back, they came with me, kind of thing. But try as I might, I couldn't get to work in this region without going somewhere else to get it started. Anyway, this is all the ins and outs of what we call the hypergrid and OpenSim and everything else like that. So what have we got for you this week? Well, I've got the big back screen here, the back screen burner, as it were. Let me click on it and bring it forward. Well, I can try. There we are. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Right, I think we're there somewhere. Okay, I normally start anyway with the Safari recap. So for those of you who don't know, well, this show, I forgot to introduce us, we're all about the Hypergrid, which is a network that connects all virtual worlds, at least all those the main ones, authored with open simulator software together. So instead of just having one grid, which is a walled garden or closed grid, you can communicate and travel between multiple grids. So all in one viewer, you just jump from one world to the next. It's like having an express jump from Earth to Mars or something, you know. You could, of course, hang out in a walled garden world, in which case the Hypergrid is absolutely no use to you whatsoever. And you just stop with the content you've got. anyway, no lecture coming here. So the Hypergrid connects us all together, and we're concerned with sort of arts, people, destinations around the whole Hypergrid. And our friend, ex-co-host here, in fact, Tesla Ember, runs a thing called Hypergrid Safari, which has just had the end of its final season, so it won't be back with us till January. But we usually have a little sort of recap of what happened here at the start of the show. So let me just click there. And here we are, Safari Roundup. And let's see if I get to the right thing this time. Here we go. This would do. This would do. Right. Just all my tabs to have the same title. Okay, first stop this week anyway. The blog from Tosha is called Vets in Neverworld. Nothing to do with animals or animal doctors. Vets is short for veterans. And unfortunately, I sort of crashed a bit halfway, well, not even halfway through. But found it very laggy. But basically, there was she's a former soldier. I forget who's who. Tig, or I think Tig is the female. She's a former soldier, and this is a sort of tribute to veterans and things. On the blog here from Tosha, which you'll find at hgsafari.blogspot.com. You can read all about it, and then, as usual, I'm just going to switch. I'm just switching to the pictures, and these are actually pictures taken during the visit. Obviously, a lot of military stuff for Veterans Day and things like that. That's the Safari crowd all hanging around there. There's yours truly. There's nobody. I don't know if I can't place anybody else offhand. And yeah, we're walking around. I think it was when we went up that hill, my Firestorm decided to go rapidly downhill. In other words, crash. See, down there is crash, isn't it? Yeah. Smoking, very, very military looking vehicle, isn't it? All the filthy smoke pouring out of it. Of course, I did forget, actually, although she's a former soldier, she's Canadian. So I guess most of this is to do with the Canadian military, which I must say I know very little about.
But to me, it sounded, when she explained, it sounded very American.
Yeah, well, I mean, apart from the fact they speak French quite a lot, I mean, Canadians and Americans do. There's a really close overlap. Here's the lady herself.
That is Canadian.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Yeah, I think the idea of the memorials and things is for anybody, veterans of, because there's a thing in the blog, I forget what it says, but her partner in this site was also in the military, but in a completely different military. So she's Canadian. He was maybe in the American one. I don't know. So it's a bit of a mix of both. But, yeah, and that looks like a RL photograph posing against the airplanes. I don't know, and Zeppelins. Anyway, I mean, the whole region had that kind of flavour.
And it's huge, the region.
Yeah. But if you're into the military paraphernalia and stuff like that, here we got a long shot at the end of it, and I'll click back into the other one here, and this is it's in hang on, Lafayette Cemetery. Is this the right film? No, it's not. No, it is not. This is one. Okay, I think I think I had to give up on filming that region we're in a minute ago. So yeah, after that, our second stop, as I said, this was the last safari of the year. So we ended up having a finale with special effects art installation by Nick Spreen. Well, I'll show you the pictures first. Everybody at this seemed to have a top out. I don't know where they got them all from. I obviously missed out somehow. But yeah.
They were at the clubhouse. You could take them. They were in a crate there.
Ah, okay. I'm just wondering why this is not playing nice as it normally does. Let me just go to make sure I'm on the right page. Oh, here we are. Right. Okay. So yeah. Oddly enough, after Tuna Oddfellow with us the other week, whose top hat is part of his costuming, actually, is quite appropriate. I thought, did Tuna give us all something and I missed it? But as you can see, apart from the avatar dress and stuff, Nyx was playing with all sorts of particles, meshes, I've forgotten eep skies. Yes, folks, it was an eep. And if you don't know what I mean, then you might be better off. Okay.
Oh, you're not very amused with the Eep skies, are you?
No, I think they're fine actually. I just think it's amusing that the the synonym for them is eep. Well, I keep thinking, there's a little mouse running around going eep, and then the cats go meow.
I think if you're watching, or if you stay there a long time and you're watching it a long time, it gives me a headache. It's too much, for after a while. But first of all, I found it very fascinating, very interesting. And I thought these suits with the matching top hats that Nyx handed out via the clubhouse of Safari, they were a perfect match because you had the feeling you were part of the scene. You were not an avatar inside the scene, but you were just a part of the scene.
That's cool.
Because it was when the colors changed, your suit changed accordingly, and I thought it was really fascinating. I normally don't dress up you don't use the dress code, but this time something made me curious, and I'm really thankful I did. I felt really immersed in this whole thing.
Wow.
And I tell you, it followed me right into my dreams.
Yeah, I think there's a bit in this film. I won't show it. Yeah, it's 25 minutes I talk, and it's got music, which I haven't checked the copyright on, so who knows. I remember following you around in camera here somewhere, because there's the other little bits that are off the side, and Nick's had us changing locations. But the one thing about this one that differed from the previous ones he did, including like he did a mini one when he was on the show and a couple of other safaris, is that he'd obviously focused a lot more on things to have in the region, right, as well as the effects, plus a kind of variety. It was changing all the while, whereas I found there was another one that I really loved, which had this sort of really electric sunset as a backdrop in the sky, but that sunset never really changed. It changed slightly as he moved to a different angle, but it wasn't always changing. Whereas on this region, there you are. Wonderful.
What I did not notice before I went out to scene was that the zipper of this damn suit.
Just looking, I just realised. Yeah, very close to the point. Yes, very much.
Forest Azure in her normal, very nice manner told me, "Wow, your zipper goes to your chacho."
What about the other women?
And I hadn't realized it, and after that I was a little cohibited. But what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's I mean, people turn up to the Emmys and things these days wearing stuff like that, don't they? Sort of.
Anyways, I didn't forget to shave, so.
Very good.
I just noticed it now because I'm doing the whole safari. I did not bother looking at myself because I thought if Forrest says something like that, I'd better not look.
We never do, that's the thing. I've actually been sent photographs and clips of me, and I think, oh, good grief, what was I up to? What my avatar was out of control, pressed the wrong button, But yeah, well, I was just moving around quite a lot, actually. No, I thought that costume really suited you, actually. It suited most people. There was a kind of, some of it was a bit overkill. So there was, one man's costume and one female costume? Is that right?
I don't know if there was more than one. At least I did not see anybody with a zipper so deep like mine.
Maybe it was a conspiracy. They made one especially for you, and so
Yeah, for sure.
secretly gave it you so you would, sure we say, stand out.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually have never really minded the music playing here. I mean, I think he's playing off a stream and whatever. It's not. There's no guarantee it's original music, which is probably a good job we're talking over it. I know. What's her name? The lady who does the live shots of Safari. She actually changed the music. Jessica.
Yep.
Before she posted it, she changed the music, which might have been wise. So I should probably.
Yeah. Well, I think these were just. He was just playing, danceable music from wherever.
But I actually quite like the music he chooses. It's what they call
I did.
ambient, and it sort of usually does, somebody else's music or not, it does go with it. So. The nice change, of course, we discovered with Tuna Oddfellow, who in a different way does similar sort of things. Oh, you've got a dance partner. He's after you. Never mind.
Matching my outfit quite well.
Tuna Oddfellow, though, who has a top hat too. He actually plays his own music these days. So in the old days, I remember when they had him on the show, he used to play wonderful ambient radio station, but now he's taken up playing the music himself. So I don't know whether Nick's has any aspirations in that direction. Is there's a good chance? Can't tell. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
One of the
she wanted to wear the whole outfit, and for some reason she couldn't, and I couldn't, and I didn't see. I think the others did well. They only used the top hat.
yeah. I think if it had been me, I'd have just swapped hats, actually.
They might have checked before they went to the party.
Well, I think we've imported mirrors from the other place here, from Cousin Lyndon's place. You can find them in here now, apparently. I've never actually seen one. It's sort of, do I really want to have a mirror to look at my avatar in? Don't even look in my real world mirror if I can help it. Yeah, the whole mood of this, as you can see, changes as it goes along. Are you a big fan of this, James?
Oh, of the EEP or what in particular?
Well, this, but also Nix's performance in general.
Oh yeah, I think they're fun. I do sometimes feel a little overwhelmed, like Tosha says, but it's really fantastical, and you can't go anywhere on Earth to see anything like this.
Yeah, that is true.
No, there's definitely an MPIRL, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Same with Tuna's thing. Although oddly enough, of course, they have got the dome in Los Angeles now, which is it's still nothing compared with this.
The sphere.
The sphere, the sphere. Apparently, it does actually. It's so huge and so 100% covering screens everywhere. It does actually work to immerse you in a different place. But but yes, this is.
But I really liked it. I really thought it was quite nice. And quite on the contrary, the military place really depressed me where we were before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was so drab and so gray and so all so centered on military and heroism and all that. And it just really depressed me deeply,
Yeah. I think it's funny. I was talking to Tosha after that too. I think she sort of agreed. I mean, it's she just said, there's some stops on Safari that she feels obliged to cover to show the variety and all this stuff going on, but aren't necessarily, you might go to a music event and you play your own soundtrack instead of listening to the 80s pipe music or something. We kind of adapt to it. I mean, certainly. I was actually laggy and I didn't crash because that was a convenient thing to do or anything. I did genuinely crash. By the time I got back, this was just starting up. So,
and to my surprise, was the first time since I have the new PC I did not crash at all at the whole
really?
Safari.
It's meant to be the other way around.
Yeah, I changed a lot of things inside the
things. Yeah. Yeah, and it's probably warming up too. The more you use it, the more it probably caches. And I often find when there's a system update or something like that, things like virtual world software before it warms up to the new system.
Yeah, and also until you get used to how to use the things and what is the better way and all that. But the last times on Safari, I ended up frustrated every time, because I always crashed, and not only once, but 3, 4, 5 times. So finally I gave up like that. And this time, nothing. It was just a pleasure all around. Well, even though a drab and gray pleasure, but a pleasure not to be crashing,
And actually, the complexity of this, well, it's not as heavyweight as you might think because of the mesh. But I mean, it's, you would think something like this would have crashed you if anything would. But no, it was the grey stop before that crashed me. And well, you've got a fairly new system these days, haven't you, James, as well? So,
oh yeah, yep.
Performing better or worse or same?
Oh, much better, extraordinarily better. Very happy.
Okay.
Right, okay.
In contrast, I was not happy on last Wednesday, so I was absent from the Safari. I was inconsolable.
Yes, yeah, I know. I'd realised that. We all had to log in with something other than our iOS Grid avatars, of course. But
well, another reason for me, I went to a casino to avoid the election. So the election results, I should say.
Oh God!
Oh, was it on Wednesday? Oh yeah, the election was Tuesday. Yes, that's true. By Safari time, we had the results. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was very early. I woke up and they'd already passed it. People thought it was going to go on for after days or weeks. But I don't blame you for consoling yourself. I don't know whether you in a casino of all places.
Oh, the casino, Mal. You forget everything. The world is forgotten and gone.
And how much money did you lose?
I won $350.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that will probably cover the higher taxes that the new commander in chief brings along with him.
That's right. The tariffs. It'll pay for the tariffs.
Oh, the tariffs. That's it. Yeah. well, of course, if he tariffs us, we'll have to tariff him back.
That's right.
Yeah. It's called a trade war. If he's going to start it, he's going to start it.
Right.
The very next day after your election results were known, the German prime minister fired the finance minister, and now nobody knows what is going to happen next. If the
and I think the
government can still be functioning until there will be new elections. But they think about January, and now they postpone it to February, and now they postpone it to March because it's difficult to organize in such short time and everything, So, and, nobody knows what's going to happen. And the household has not been dismissed, and it's really.
I think crazy. The Israeli guy, they sat the IDF guy too. Right. They've sat the defense minister or whatever the IDF is.
It's really crazy times we're going through right now.
Yeah. But I apologize, virtual family, because this may be not as a topic for the program. It's just
yes, but we should avoid it really. But it does affect the whole world. one way or another.
Oh,
But to be honest, if you read my Facebook feed, which I very rarely go to Facebook, but I posted masses this week, links to articles, which are by and large discussions, analyses of the state of the world in the last few days, basically. So I'm going to stop that now rather than, as I said, I've got 25 minutes of it, so we don't need all of that. I'm going to pop back to the web pages view again. There's one other Safari here. Safari Finale. What's this? I'm on the wrong. No. Oh yeah, the art. Yeah, she did one post on Monday as well, called "The Art of Ack," about Ackardbark and his mesh creations, which are available free and full perm on his store at Arcadia and OSGrid. Good luck finding that with OSGrid. It's not been there at the moment, but I think this was written before OSGrid decided to take its little sojourn. So these are just some for his works and stuff. It looks like a this wasn't a Safari, but it looks a bit like a Safari, doesn't it? But it wasn't. It must have been a secret Safari I didn't know anything about. But anyway, we had a little excursion there, as you can see. There he is, the man. And so there we go. Right, so just quickly before I move on, some stuff. Kitely, one of the worlds on the Hypergrid, they're rather unique in the sense that they have a slightly different way of doing things, but they're a bona fide open sim world with their own marketplace where they actually sell rather than give away material and whatever. But they brought PBR materials into their grid. I remember you mentioned PBR to me offline a bit earlier, James. So presumably, is that something you're trying out on Kitely, because that's your home grid, isn't it?
Well, I've switched viewers because I really wanted to try it out, and the new version 7.1.11 is working really well. It's I'm in it right now, and I'll just show on screen briefly. The roof of our studio, for example, is very highly reflective, and it's quite pretty. So and this viewer seems really stable. So I took the plunge, and I'm filming today with a PBR enabled viewer, and it's quite fun.
Very good. Okay.
The stars underneath are the transparency and reflection are so fun.
Yeah. Well, it's basically what we used to call the texture map under the texture, isn't it? Which it's like a bump map.
It's it's a new way of rendering. I mean, basically you have shaders, that cause different effects in the viewer, and the PBR is actually initials like we have X, Y, and Z for coordinates, and P, B, and R each represent a location in a coordinate system for rendering reflection and things like that. It's very cool. I like it.
Yeah. No, it's sort of I understand what it is. I think it's because you can use bump maps, texture maps as terrain as well, and so that when you have the lights on and everything like that, it's depending on how the map is, so you get different effects. And I guess this is the same thing, but it wraps to the object rather than
And I should say my understanding of PBR is very poor, so don't take any explanation I offer as correct.
Just thinking, I can probably there you are. If you were careful, you could probably see the thing there. There's no way I can make it bigger without being whole screen. No, that's definitely what we don't want. Sorry about that. Right, okay, but it gives us an idea. So, this is a post on Kitely's blog. So it's www.kitely.com. That's KITELY.com. And I'm quite sure there's plenty of other grids that are experimenting with too, but Kitely tends to announce.
But I've been looking for PBR materials lately. There are loads and loads and loads of materials, of PBR materials in the internet. So really very, very many, and well, not all of them free, but very many free material.
Wow.
Is this the sort of thing you can encompass in your work in Blender, Tosha? In other words, can you prepare these materials in Blender before you import them, or is it a particular in-world thing?
Well, you can use them also. You can use them all in Blender with nodes, and I think it's a little complicated to do all that, but and then you have to make a texture of all of that you can then use in world. And I think it is easier to just use the basic color and to import all the, actually the PBR material consists of like 4 or 5 different materials that you um put one on top of the other practically.
Right.
And that gives this illusion of three-dimensionality.
Yeah.
And you can also do that, not quite so complicated, but I think pretty itself, in world. You use the plain color, and then you use a normal, which makes the ups and downs, let's say,
Yeah. Yeah.
the
That's the
structure.
yeah.
And then you have something for, like that gives it a metallic look or a shiny look or whatever you want to use. You can do that in world. And I think it might not quite be as extensive as using PBR in Blender, but I think it gives you pretty good results. So, and it's a lot easier.
I think I may be wrong here, but I mean, back in the old days, anything that remarkable, virtual landscape-wise and stuff was done, but rendered very slowly because it used ray tracing. Now, ray tracing can happen in real time a lot quicker now, but I don't think OpenSim or Second Life, for that matter, have actually done much of that. But I do think this brings a slightly ray trace quality, because the thing you notice about ray tracing is the lighting. That really always sticks out a mile, and this has certainly extended the possibilities for lighting textures and surfaces.
Well, what you have here with the PBR is when you move that cube, that ball in the middle, the light ball.
Yeah,
When you move that, and then you have the different shiny,
yeah.
the reflection of the spheres would change rather drastically. I don't know if you can do that in world alone. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
you probably can, because you can. We've always been able to have a projecting light coming from a brim, and
Yeah,
as you move
yeah.
it, the effect on the. I used to put surfaces in caves, with a
Mm,
projector light on, and so you walk into the cave and have a subtle blue light to it, which would
mm,
be, depending on where the light source was, which you couldn't see, but the result would show sort of it
mm.
would look different from different angles, basically. And back in the days of Photoshop, it was I forget when, about Photoshop 3.1 or something like that, when they introduced lighting. And it was a very simple thing because that's 2D, but basically you could mark off areas in a Photoshop file that would be treated as bump map textures, and then you could apply a light. And so if you had a scene with a bonfire, you could choose where the bonfire,
Yeah,
you put light where the bonfire was, and the surrounding
yeah.
got a sort of three-dimensional illumination depending on how it related to the bonfire. So anyway, on Kitely, you can certainly go and play with it there now. So and that example is featuring mud and metal. That'd be a good name for something. Mud and metal.
But in metal.
Delago. What's the old American King's place called? That really sick place in Florida. Made of mud and
Oh,
metal. I would call it Delago.
Mar-Lago.
Marlago, yeah.
Mhm.
It looks like a sort of bad Disneyland.
Now I'm going to be ill again. Oh, off
Yeah,
the
well,
couch.
no, painted in mud and metal, it would look pretty then.
Mm.
Sorry, man. Okay, let's move on, Luzmon.
Sunk under
Okay,
the sea would look pretty, I think.
Okay, OS Grid actually posted this morning to explain what is going on.
It's still not online.
They're still not online. They're not even. They're willing. Thursday, I can do is going to be a few days, but they're actually not willing to give a time. Basically, the grid itself is not offline. It's just logins are disabled. They're basically rebuilding a Ceph, which is kind of their asset server. And basically, they have to refresh a bank of several 100 million assets.
Oh, yes.
17 years worth of data, basically. And it has to be written into tiny packages and then compiled and recompiled. And they don't think anything will go wrong, but they're just saying that they're not. They will open it provisionally when there's a sliding window of the conversion. Always doing a few million at a time, running in the background until the operation completes. But it won't be until it's completed that everybody will have full access to everything, especially inventory may be affected.
I'm so glad that's not my job. I would just be lost.
Yeah. They've left it a long while, haven't they?
I think that's what Lico was, fighting with these days too, because Craft has been down for a while, and he was,
I mean, it's 17 years, they say here. I mean, I can see him. Grid is probably the oldest grid. I'm not quite sure, but certainly Graft and a load of other ones have been around nearly as long. So they've probably got the same 17 years.
And 17 years, and it's huge,
Yeah. Anyway, you'll find this OS. The site here is actually this came through my feed. It's actually simple. It's actually www.osgrid.online. That is the name of the site, and then it's /news and then /assets and demons. So that's where you go to find out their news. I'm used to checking on OS Grid from some other source completely, but that's quite an easy one to remember. www.osgrid.online. No com or org or anything fancy like that, just online. Like AOL used to be, online. When is it? Actually, it's funny. Maybe it should be osgrid.offline. That might be more appropriate. I wonder what would happen if I type that in. Never mind. Okay, and I think that's about it. We've got that's just here for reference, as is this. So going back to OpenSimWorld, here we are. My habit is to go around every week these days looking, Joe Reed in our text channel, evening, Joe, which means you're in European time too. In the week I went to, just a couple of days ago, I found in the recent entries for regions, a region called Friends of the World, and had great fun filming some of it. And just when I finished filming, along came the couple of sort of running things, and they only really spoke Italian, but I was able to put a translator on, and I said I'd be showing the film on this show today, and they said, but a bit like they'll be able to check in the chat window in YouTube. So I don't know. All I remember is the avatar names. I don't even remember them properly. So I'll be looking at the chat window here to see any comments as we go by here. So this is their page on OpenSimWorld. One of the persons I spoke with was Jared. Here he is, Jared, just a single name. One thing of interest is that I think Friends of the World is the name of the whole region, but part of the region seems to be called Urban Jungle. Which probably explains a lot of the old buildings and things. There's a nice picture of it. I hadn't seen that before. Right. Anyway, I will slip back down here now and stop running the film. I've got 15 minutes of the film here, and there it goes. It's doing really quick. Am I right in thinking you had alerts there ready for this, James?
Yep.
You did, because I even prepared a different kind in case we needed it, but I'll leave it to James. So I was playing around with tools I could use on the show, but fortunately I've got James to do a much more subtle one. Right. Yeah, I see an urban jungle sign there. What I really liked about this, and I guess you guys can comment as we go through it, is relative. I think it's probably a 2x2 region. Not huge, but probably bigger than a single region. But it's still well designed, and there's a lot of, it's got that collector feeling that you often get when you see a grid, and they've got that, and they've got that, and they've got that. But often it's not the fact that they've got copies of things you've seen before; it's the way they've actually put them together and designed them. It's like you may have the same settee as somebody down the road from you, but your sitting room does not necessarily look the same because you've just got the same city, if you see what I mean. That bit here, these bits, the fire escape and, the building that's still got scaffolding on the outside of it, which we just passed and things. So it's just little touches and little detail. I mean, a lot of these are fake buildings you can't go into, but others you can. And, garbage in the street, it looks like somebody's been sleeping there overnight or something. And of course, it's not all urban decay, but despite the urban jungle thing, as you'll see later, the center of the region is a castle on an island. And then there's water, and then there's another land mass in a circle, around the sort of puddle, the water that the castle's in. And then there's another ring of water, and so there's a whole other flavor and a sort of outer perimeter. So, I mean, from above, it doesn't actually look like rings, but it's the best way I could describe it. As you said, the lower third now should be showing the actual address you can go to here. It's on Craft World. No, sorry, it's not. I'm confused with another one. Sorry. This is alternatemetaverse.com, ALTERNATEMETAVERSE.com, and the port number is 8002. The region is called Friends of the World. Sorry about that. As you can see, if you're watching this in replay, you'll see it on the.
I wonder how it is that it is really very, very fashionable, very in those last years to make so trashy, look everything so trashy. I don't think that I dislike it, but it's also a little disturbing.
Yeah, I do. All I could think of was I wonder, they didn't say, but I wonder if there's some role play going on here in certain little zones, and it's not all the same. I mean, something I like. I was talking to that earlier. I like regions. Something speaks to me if I see lots of buildings that are sort of broken, relics and things, overgrown with shrubbery and things like that. Nothing sort of like deliberately post-apocalyptic about it, just the idea of life in the form of, foliage and growth, overgrowing the simple things that mankind has built over time. And there's something I quite like about that. But like you, Tosha, I'm not too happy on the sort of just dingy, the dingy things, if there's a lot of them, like this, building here is a dingy old wreck, really. This region is just not full of the urban jungle. That is just one bit of it, I think. And they seem to, played around with it quite well. I don't know what the train's doing there. It's certainly not to scale. Yeah. It's the castle, on the other hand, which I guess I get to at the end, I think is very much more a medieval kind of thing. And the outlying areas are pretty far removed from this, urban jungle bit. But this is again, like breakfast signs that have been made up and things like that. They've obviously paid a lot of attention there, and what they're trying to convey with these old buildings. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they put the same attention into a modern build, it would, still have the attention there. And compared to some, we went on safari, didn't we? It was about 3-4 weeks ago now, where we started at the end of a thing, and he said we're going to go down to the trailer park or something like that. And I ended up crashing because it was so laggy. But that was, that was another example you probably didn't like. It was, it has that grey, depressing feeling, and boarded up, and I don't know, maybe they're playing zombie games or something there.
Well, I think it's like fashionable. It's like a thing. It's in these last years. Let's say that there's so many trashy Sims. I mean, trashy on purpose. Not
Yeah,
not trashy because badly built, because they're fabulous builds. But just made look all trashy, from the furniture to the building to everything. And maybe, I don't know, to me
I,
it is depressing. I wouldn't feel well on a sim like that, to run around or to work on it or to play on it. i
uh,
I just wouldn't. I would be so depressed.
uh, well, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering whether to go back and film a bit where I was actually walking around, and not so much this area, but other areas. But yeah, I know how you feel. Because I'm faulty here, because when I had a big 5x5 file on my own region on old computer at one point, you were able to pick up these old buildings and things. They've probably been copypotted from somewhere else. I don't know. They've been around for years. And because you could pick them up, the temptation was to sort of drag them out of the inventory and sort of try and arrange them in such a way that they had some kind of meaning and were a juxtaposition to something quite different that would be around the corner, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
but
if certainly a whole region built like that would be a bit, depressing.
but but I was in lately also in some furniture shops, just to get some ideas and to look around a little bit and to get some rest of my big region that I'm trying to build. And as much in OpenSim in the Hypergrid as also in SL, you find shops and shops and shops full of furniture that are really absolutely on purpose, absolutely trashy looking,
Yeah,
with holes and with, just really horrible looking. Like, before there was the time where everything was so perfect. Everything that was virtual world was perfect. The avatars perfect,
yeah,
the regions perfect, the furniture perfect, and it was too much perfection that I did not like so much either. But it was easier for me to cope with than with this. This region looks to me like, like the end of the world. you know, it looks.
well, but maybe I was just thinking of the American election while I was filming it and thinking how appropriate this is. Yeah, I would differ on that. I mean, if this had been only the urban jungle, I would probably have not been so agreeable. But it's the way it had been designed and the actual variety of things in there. I mean, we're on the beach now, very small beach actually, but there's nothing that would necessarily make you think what was over the hill there. Although actually it's a beaten up building. Maybe the lifeguard shack. I don't know. It's sort of, I feel like I've seen a lot of what's here before, but not all of it. And I also feel that just as an exercise in putting it all together, and having so much in a small space. I don't know. I thought it was quite an achievement anyway. And especially as this, I mean, it's literally a new region. They've only been open, I think it was about 3-4 weeks or something. So they've got an awful lot here. It's in just 4 weeks, they've built rather a lot by the look of it. I believe they're active on other grids. They teleported me over to somewhere afterwards, which I didn't really look at. I just went to talk. Oh, this is nice. A very nice little hidden away little seat here, actually. I managed to take a copy of that, I have to admit. Yeah. James, any thoughts from you? Do you think it's depressing or exciting? Or
Oh, it's all it's all in the context, and I mean, a person designing a region has a plan and a purpose and use cases about what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
so I think it's very evocative. It definitely evokes a place to adventure, a place to explore, and if
Yeah.
their point was to friends of the world to perhaps emphasize some of the challenges that other people in the world live with, then I think that could be very effective. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
sure.
certainly lots of unexpected bits that you come across, like this. I don't know what.
The
I think
artwork.
there's
Yep.
mini trees meant to be growing out of their head or something. Yeah, the higher up you are, the more sort of fantastical it sort of gets. I mean, all the good, the
Mm-hmm.
grungy stuff tends to be down on the ground in the middle places. This bit is getting much more,
Well,
trees with human form.
frankly, I wouldn't like to live in the real world, in my real life. I wouldn't really like to live in a house full of broken down furniture and ugly and things and
Yeah,
broken, ripped,
no, I would.
dirty. I wouldn't like me in the virtual world.
It's a
The-
different context. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to
oh,
make my
sure, sure, sure.
I
And
wouldn't make my home here.
I
But on
can
the
I
other hand,
can see the point also. I think people that make these regions, sure, they think about it. They have their point and they want to
yeah,
show us something, but hmm, it makes me depressed. And maybe that's exactly what they want,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
to make you
it is
depressed
an area.
with the situation of the world we're living in,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I must admit, when I first landed, I was sort of aware of the sign saying "urban jungle," I think it was, and it all made
Mm,
sense to me then.
Mm.
mm.
When I realised the whole region was called Friends of the World, it's you know, uh, um,
The
well,
world
it's
needs friends.
yeah, they did have the zombies in that bit actually. It was something
Mm.
found to come back to. Yeah, it's I don't know. I found it an interesting
But
build to found
there is another
given that it was
thing.
new, given that it was new, and given the amount of work that was in it for something that was that new. It intrigued me. I thought this is, we're all about the people, and this is people that have really gone overboard in a very short period of time building this, whatever its greater context is. And the game room here, this is all, the
There's
most.
really not one thing
Nice
that you could
cave.
say, well, that looks cool, or well, looks cool. I don't say that, but oh, here I could sit down and play and do something and feel well. Not one place, not even this animish avatar that we saw. He looked like,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of.
It-
If you could, one thing I will say about this, really, I mean, whether it takes your fancy or not, is if you're on foot in there and you're wandering around, turning corners and things, in a comparatively small area, there's a lot to stumble upon.
yeah,
Whether you like
sure,
what you stumble upon is another matter, but clearly
sure. No, I
it's
think
got
it's
work.
interesting. It's
Yeah,
really interesting and it is fascinating and it makes you wonder what do the what does the builder want to tell you, because every builder, let's face it, that builds something and makes it public on a sim
yeah,
wants to tell you something,
yeah.
everyone does. And um and then it makes me wonder what do these people want to tell me with their with their way of building and putting together the sim and the site of it. Maybe they want to make me depressed, or maybe they want to shake me up and say, look, if you don't do something, our real world will look like this soon also, or whatever. And I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating, and it looks like a region that you can wander about a long time. But if you wander about too much time, you might go home and and shoot yourself.
Well, look on the bright side. If it's that depressing, it actually enhances the effect of when you teleport away to a lovely garden somewhere. You think, oh, this garden is so pretty by comparison with where I just was. It's this, of course, the castle up here. It's got nothing urban jungly about it. Sort of mean about the layout, the thing in the middle, then a ring of water, and then land, and then there's another ring of water before these little outposts. That's the film anyway. So well, I'm sure Tosha, for one, is glad it's not any longer.
I just see so much work. I mean, I'm just always astounded by all the work that our builders put into these places.
Yeah,
amazing.
But that really all do.
Yep.
I haven't seen a region or a place that was just done like without interest in what you do, and everybody puts a lot of work in it, and it's very, lot of hours, lot of thoughts, lot of everything,
Yeah, the expression.
knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge you can see also in the older and newer regions of people, how they get better and better all the time.
Yeah.
And that is also fascinating, and all that, and so much creativity. Oh, I have to talk with my grandmother again. She has to mend my sweater. And
who knows? They may
I
develop that.
think it's quite, that is quite true, and it's quite interesting. But anyways,
maybe say a region like that. Maybe in a few years they'll take this story into a different age when the whole region's overgrown and you can't see, the decay and sort of.
maybe in a few years. You look at these regions and say, "Oh, look at how beautiful the world was before it became to what it is now."
Yeah, or
you never know.
Or something like the present build will become buried underground, and it will be a real utopian type thing on top of it. Just look at in the real world, we've got cities like that. There've been, the medieval bit. There's been in London, there's bits too. Where the modern city has been built over things, and it's only when they do a bit of excavation they suddenly find the original Globe Theatre, Shakespeare's thing, was found only found when they actually tried to do a building on top of it. And think, hang on, there's something underneath here. Oh, it's the past.
What do you know?
Yeah, and there's underground tunnels and things like that, which are actually once roads, but they were covered up so they could build on top of it. And what we think of ground level is actually above another ground level and stuff like that, and sewers below that. And the underbelly of a modern city, it may look absolutely pristine on the surface, but it's got the history underneath it. So who knows anyway. But it's all one big adventure, and you can't complain too much when you can just hypergrid in somewhere, and if you don't like it, you can hypergrid out. Simple, as the television house says. Simples. Right. So you two, anything else do you think to bring up? We will let you know a bit about this place, OSCC Grid, later, the OSCC conference. I haven't got any posters to show you, anything like that. They haven't produced any sort of coming up yet that I've seen yet. Anyway, I don't know whether you know of any, James. So we haven't got anything to put on the slideshows, as it were.
No.
But it's about 4 weeks away now. The news I can tell you in advance is that Thursday and I, my former co-host, and accompanied by James actually, will be doing a little general thing talking about the hypergrid in general, Safari, and in particular HIE, Hypergrid International Expo. But it's really, basically, she wanted me to do a talk, and I said, well, I'll do it with you. And then we decided we'd invite James. But it gave us a bit of a shock, because this is the first year I'm not doing two 2 panels on Saturday and Sunday, and apparently the message hadn't actually registered with the organisers. They still thought they still had a booking for me or something. Anyway, so I will be here on the Saturday of that and talking about. We'll be talking about uses of celebrating and the uses of the hypergrid in general.
Yeah, I do know that for the conference, the schedule is getting finalized, and I'm hoping to have something on the website shortly that will give people a taste of what sessions are scheduled. So,
yeah, I checked out the. I did see an agenda on the Avacon Discord.
The organizers.
Yep. Yes, but it's not. It's obviously not full yet. So.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, and the week before that, we will be here, maybe on this build as well, depending on what happens in the coming weeks with OS Grid. Not moving from there, but obviously while it's closed, we have to go somewhere else. And the weekend before the conference, we will have Le Lobo and Sun Tzu, one of his many names, Joey Obama, who's in charge of the entertainment as well, giving us a bit of a preview. And
and he's got quite some acts coming up. I'm seeing some fresh names, which should be really fun.
Yeah, well, I know Tuna's doing something, so that in itself is a worthy event,
right?
Yeah, well, it's a different concept, really. Of course, with HIE, we have the spectacles, spectaculars on the main stage, hand in hand with the talks, but OSCC tends to separate them. So entertainment is strictly evening, I think, isn't it? And in the day.
Yep.
But should be some good stuff there anyway. I meant to ask you, Tosha, how's the language thing you were doing, learning English thing?
Oh, yeah, it's going well. We have now 2 more people with us. No, 3 actually, because in the beginning were only Shirana and I.
Yeah.
And now we have Emil Jennings.
Oh,
right.
You probably know him.
Yeah, very much.
He's really fantastic gain to the group. And then we have
fluent English anyway, doesn't he? So
we have a Polish woman that also reads very well English, but she does not speak so well. And that's the idea, to learn to speak a little better.
Yeah.
And then we have Maria, who's a Greek girl. She reads and writes perfectly English, but she does not speak either. So with a little, I hope she will stay. She will come because she's one that normally goes to sleep very early. And we start at, I think, 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. No, 10 o'clock, I think, even.
In the evening.
10 p.m. And so she always goes to sleep a little earlier yet, and she puts her alarm, and then she gets up again to join us. And it is really...
Oh, that's nice. Really I've come across people who do that in virtual worlds. They want to be... They're in Europe, but they want to be on an American thing, or they're in America and they want to be in the Europe thing. And their cycle, is governed by an alarm clock at a different time every day, because... I'll have a quick nap and then go to that meeting, then another slightly longer nap and be up for the next. And I don't know how healthy it is, but it's sort of rather nice to think that people.
What I find really fascinating about this group now is that we have 5 people and 5 nationalities, not 2 of the same country. And except Shirana and I are living in the same country, but still we're of different nationalities, and it's really fascinating. And so I don't have it now, but for the next time I will make some little post or something like that you can put in here. So because of course it would be nice to have a couple more people, but much more would be too much also,
Yeah, just something matters, small group and manageable, really.
10 would be the most, more gets too much. And we want to not only chat but start reading things and discussing it, And Emil is going to look for some nice things now with Christmas coming near. Well, not really near, but we were talking about reading this Christmas story. What's it called? This not the Scrooge, the other one.
The Scrooges, yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
one of them is of Dickens.
Christmas Carol is Scrooge, isn't it? Yeah.
And the other one, I don't know. One of them is of Dickens, and the other one is not.
Yeah,
But they're basically the same things.
Yeah, Dickens is a Christmas Carol, so that's one of the ghost of Christmas.
And so we
I've
want.
got a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did checking. I had that.
That's copyrighted, Mel. That would be copyright.
Yes, I got. Yeah,
Oh, you can read it, no? Read it and talk
I don't
about
know.
it.
I wonder. Yeah.
Come on.
It's Disney, so beware.
Yeah, well, it's Tim Burton, so I was just thinking it's a great romp. Yeah. For all I know, Charles Dickens is still in copyright. It's like Agatha Christie or something. People unfortunately tend to renew the copyright the year it's meant to expire.
Sure,
and
but we don't want to. Well, even though it's copyrighted, you should be able to read it, no?
Because of course you can. Yeah. In fact, I don't think in the case of Dickens it could possibly be copyrighted still. It's there's regulations about just how much you can extend copyright. It belongs to the estate, really, of the author.
Well,
but
anyways, it looks pretty good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my favorite project would be to read, like something from Brecht or something like that, which I love.
Now, talking of Christmas, back in my school days when I was about 13 or something, I was in a school play, and it was a joint production with the local girls' school and us, which was boys, kind of thing. And I was in the Caucasian chalk circle. I was one of the guys that tries to pull the woman out of the ring. I was so young at the time, but I remember that because it was kind of probably the first time I stood on a stage with people in front of me, a lot of people in front of me.
I remember too. I was in a school play. I don't remember what it was all about, but I was personating a witch. I was a witch, and I was so excited about it, and I thought it was so cool. And I learned my text and everything, and I got on stage, and I had a fit of laughter.
That's good. I like
and that ended my career.
That's great. That seems so.
Yeah, it's like it's serious, learning all these serious words and everything else, and then when you've got to stand up and say them, you just take one look at it. This is funny. This is weird. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be one of the shortest shows we've had for a while, actually, one way or another. I don't know. A quick shout out, if they are in the audience, to the guys at Friends of the World. I don't know whether Joe Reed. Good to see you in the text chat there, Joe. I don't know whether you were one of them because I remember the avatar names, but you may be here.
Yeah, I saw six viewers not too long ago, but we're back down to 2, and one of them is me.
Yeah. Well, maybe they didn't like what we were saying about that build thing about off. So we are a review show after all. It's in the name. A different review from all of us, right? Okay. So unless James and Tosha, you have anything else to add, I think I can do the wrap bit.
All right. No, I have nothing more, Mel.
Not me neither.
Me neither, she said. That sounded a bit down. The grey buildings are affecting your psychology, I can tell.
Oh no, not. Not
Sorry.
so much. Not so much. What's much more depressing is that the dog of my brother hates me.
Oh
Oh,
my.
is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh,
Well,
I see. So
they
you've
were
got to.
sleeping, but that dog, that tiny little dog, she doesn't even come near me, unless I have some food between my
Oh my
fingers.
So she,
goodness.
And,
Okay.
well, she's
and
been doing
and
that
then
since
she
I was
comes and takes it and turns around and runs back to my brother or to his wife. I think it's really mean.
She's
Wow.
been glaring at you all through the show, just making
Hmm.
you uncomfortable. Oh dear. Well, yes, you've got family to attend to, I guess. So it's probably good. We're closing early this week, so to speak. Right. Okay. Well, it's been wonderful. I'd like to thank, of course, James Atlloud, the right-hand man, he of the sitting and he of the knobs, fiddlings.
Oh, thank you, Mel. Yep.
And I meant to mention you have got slightly more formal this week. You got is it pinstripe trousers?
I just
Yeah,
wanted.
I noticed.
I just wanted
Yeah,
to
I
change
mean,
something. I
yeah.
was.
Well, all you got to do is bring that smart shirt and bow tie along
Right,
from
right. But I
the
do have the
bar.
Crocs. I do have my orange Crocs from Safari, so I brought those over.
I don't know whether you can cam around actually. If you avoid the glasses and the hat, oh God, I'm cringing looking at myself now. I have a new. Well, it's the same as my other jacket, but with a new logo on the back. And I
Yeah,
got
I
a new
showed it
T-shirt.
early at the beginning of the show. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful! The
Yep.
new, yes,
Yep.
the open simified me, I
Right.
guess, or something.
Right.
Very good, very good. Right, okay. Well, I'll close it there. Thank you also, of course, to wonderful co-host Tosha Ryran.
You're most welcome, and it was a pleasure.
And I've just remembered I've got a button I can press when we go out. Okay, so I'm going to wish you all a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, a very good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And we're out of here.
Okay.